Okay, today we are playing a game on Eichenwalde. We are playing Winston on attack and Reinhardt and Roadhog on defense. And the average SR of this game was 2,338. So, in the accompanying email it says, although it's certainly not the majority part of the video, could you talk a bit on second wave rounds in close matches where the timer is low and you usually only have to cap a small portion / must prevent even a small portion from being capped. So that should tell you a bit about how the game goes. And yes, we will talk about that when that comes up later. For now, our team: Winston, Roadhog, Farah, Genji, Anna, and Mercy. That means you get to draw a line under every category. Oh, what a time to be alive. So, it's mostly a dive comp. It doesn't quite make the final hurdle. It doesn't have, a Zarya, or a Zenyatta, or a Lucio, but it's like most of the way there. I would expect some issue, because unless this part of the team dives really well, Mercy might not even be trying to dive, like, she might be too scared, like, if this part of the dive, at least, doesn't do super well, these people are gonna have a lot of trouble, like, getting in the door at all, so, but anyway, let's start the game. So, we're attacking first, we'll skip forward a bit, because it wasn't that far in. Alright, so, now, we're attacking first. We see they've got a Symmetra. We're playing Winston, so that's a great time to be playing Winston. And a pretty sad time to be playing Symmetra, generally. So, we look over, we see they also have a Zenyatta and a Reinhardt. And a Genji. So their team is pretty good for us overall to play against, because they have a lot of things that Winston is good at dealing with. So, the thing is, we leave our bubble out here, and then just sort of start walking up to them and try to tase our way in. That's not really going to work. Remember, we've got a dive comp basically going right now. You don't want to just, like, leave your bubble around in the street, because, I mean, for one thing, Winston's bubble is really, really weak. Like, it breaks super fast. It's 600, 700 HP? It's not very much. It's less than Orissa's. So you don't really want to just, like, put it down, like, in the choke point like that, because it's not really going to get a lot done. You wanna, I mean, you can, if you think you can dive in by yourself and you're just gonna leave the bubble behind for your team, I guess that's fine. But generally, you're gonna need the bubble to actually, like, fight when you dive in, so you don't wanna really just sort of use it like that. But now we see what their entire team is. It's great. It's fantastic. We're good against this entire side of their team. And, like, it's just sort of break even against the other tanks. Like, you're not gonna kill them, but they're not gonna kill you unless, like, the Reinhardt gets a sick pin in or something like that. But we're really strong against 2/3 of their team. So, this is a good time for us. This team also is not very good against dive, in generally speaking. And they have nothing that can stop Farah. Genji's probably gonna have a sad time. But, everybody else should have a fairly good time against this team comp. So, we're not really getting very much done. Like, Winston is really bad at what we're trying to do right now, which is posture around the choke point. We want to just sort of be figuring out how we're going to get in. Farah has managed to pick off the Mercy, which is good. But, like, what we've been doing around here, this is not, we want to be, like, figuring out if we can dive in, and then we want to, like, pick our moment to, like, get in. We're really bad at posturing around choke points. So, we got picked off their Mercy. We saw Roadhog hook the Symmetra over here. I guess this is not a great place to leave your bubble, because it's not too likely to get anything really done in there. Granted, their team is really bad at breaking bubbles. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world. But now, you see, we've jumped in, and we don't have our bubble to, like, play around with anymore, and it didn't really get anything done in the hallway. So, now, it's just much harder for us to dive. They also have a Zenyatta. It's pretty important to have your bubble when you're diving against a Zenyatta, because if you don't, it's really easy to just get blown up and killed, basically. So, and now we've come over here. The turrets were still there. We were low HP because we were running away, and we didn't get away with that. So this is just, like, really, like, indecisive Winston play. Like, generally, I would advise you to use your bubble more selfishly. Like, you need it when you go in and fight people. But, like, this posturing around the choke point business, we don't want to be doing that. We want to be just sort of getting in, figuring out how we're gonna get in, then getting in and doing our business. So, that's not a super great option, because we just sort of dive into the middle of their team, and we walk at them as we're doing it as well. So we're half HP before we even get in here, and we've jumped into their entire team, and they just blow us up and kill us. Winston's bad. Like, the way you beat Winston is you just, like, collapse on the Winston and kill the Winston. If you jump into their team, you just make it super easy for them. And we super telegraph it as well by just, like, walking at them and then jumping into their entire team. We're looking to, like, pick off people. We're, like, looking around, waiting for our opportunity, then we're, like, going in, and we're just, rather than, like, jumping into their team, it'd be better to, like, jump behind them, sort of, like, off the left-hand street side, because, like, no one's really standing over there, so that's pretty easy for us to jump in. You can try and, like, tase the turrets as you go by as well, maybe break a couple. But then, rather than just jumping into their team, if we jump behind them, first off, they're gonna be like, oh fuck, Winston's back there, we gotta, like, try and do something about that. But they can't all come and deal with you. Because if they all come to deal with you, they just leave the choke point completely unguarded. So, one or two of them are gonna come back to try and deal with you, and then you try and kill them if you can, depending on who comes back to stop you. But if you think you're gonna die, you just leave again because you're playing Winston. This is, and rather than just jumping into them, because that's the thing. People are like, Winston's thing is disruption, which is true. So, but they sort of interpret that as, I'll jump in them and just sort of try and create chaos. What usually happens is the enemy team is just going to kill you, provided they actually, like, know what they're doing. The great equalizer is they might not know what they're doing, but generally speaking, they're just going to kill you if you jump into them. The idea is to play relatively flanker-esque. You're probably not going to kill people. Winston takes a while to kill people. If you can kill them, that's great, and obviously that's what you're trying to do, but it's more just sort of like, you're around the side, bothering people, like, threatening their backline, and then as soon as you see the opportunity to get on somebody, you get on them, and then you, like, tase them, try to kill them. And if you're feeling pressured, you feel like you're gonna die, you just leave again. Because Winston is a monkey, and appropriately enough, he uses guerrilla warfare. The idea is to just, like, not jump into them, just, like, play around them a little bit until you see your opportunity. Get on them, tase them, get, like, behind them on the side, try and find stragglers. We don't want to just, like, we don't want to posture around choke points, and we don't want to jump straight into them. We want to, like, we gotta be a little bit more clever than that. If you have a Zarya, that being said, if you have a Zarya, it's easier to do the kind of, like, jump into them sort of thing. Because then she bubbles you as you jump in, you put your bubble down, and then you just, like, tase the fuck out of their backline. They can't kill you quickly enough through the Zarya bubble and the Winston bubble. And then you kill someone, you, like, fuck up their whole plan, you, like, get people off the high ground probably if it's up there, and then you can just jump away again because they didn't kill you quickly enough. But we don't have a Zarya to play around right now, it's just Winston, so we have to be a bit more creative than that. So, anyway, though, let's start the round again. So over here we see that Genji is running around cutting people. We, like, don't fully commit to, like, trying to kill him. Like, he's purple and low HP. Like, oh wait, he went over there. Okay, I thought he went behind us. Did he go over there? I thought he went, like, behind us. Maybe I'm just crazy. Okay, he did go over there. Alright, I'm crazy. I thought he went behind us to try and cut somebody else. My bad. So, we've spotted the Mercy, we're going in to try and get the Mercy, we've got our bubble, they've sort of left our bubble behind, which is what you do if, Winston dives on you and puts the bubble on you. Just leave. Just leave the bubble, basically. So Roadhog's coming in nano boosted, he didn't manage to get anything done, unfortunately, because Transcendence happened, but he did break the barrier, if nothing else. So, here we find Symmetra. Symmetra's kinda spooky, but we're good at killing Symmetra. 2 people died over there, they just got rezzed again. However, Reaper just killed Reinhardt after the res happened. So now they're still missing one of their tanks right now. We're really close to Primal Rage, we jump straight onto their backline who are all by themselves. Start tasing them, kill the Mercy. This is happening, we just decide we're gonna use Primal Rage. Fair enough. We probably could have held it a little bit longer. Like, ever so slightly, but, like, fair enough, you know. There's, like, nothing around us that was really gonna burst us, but it's fair enough to just use Primal Rage. And now they're, like, all dead. It's just Genji over here. They have a teleporter. Right, they have a teleporter, so Reinhardt got back really quickly. They're starting to come out of here. It looks like the teleporter is behind the building, which is, I mean, the usual place. Winston's kind of, like, not great at killing the teleporter because it takes you fucking forever, basically. But at this point, we're starting to lose people, and, like, our team's starting to fall back. Now we've lost both of our healers. So our options right now are basically try and get out, or, like, try and find the teleporter before we die and hopefully break it. We instead just sort of tase in the middle of them for a while. We get their mercy, but everybody else is already dead, so it's not really going to achieve anything. So we should have either been trying to get out because we were losing the fight, or just trying to, like, get the teleporter, if nothing else, before we died. The teleporter is, like, super low charges at this point. It's gonna, like, have 1 or 2 left, because the whole team just funneled out of it. So it's not the end of the world regardless, though. So we're coming back around now. We've managed to get through the choke point again because they didn't have time to reset up around it. Roadhog has killed their Symmetra right as we're arriving, so that's great. Here we find Genji. Genji dashed away from us. Now we found Mercy. Mercy's gone over there, though, so now we're going to play this little awkward game. We don't need to use the bubble right here, because the bubble doesn't actually protect against anything that we've just put it down against. Like, we're looking at Reinhardt, Winston, Mercy. The bubble is not helpful against any of those people, really, so we could have held that, like, a little bit longer to use it, like, when we're fighting Genji or something like that instead, or Symmetra. Zenyatta as well. So, the enemy team, the 2 supports are in here, and we're bullying them around pretty fiercely. Right now, we should just, like, go harder on them, honestly, because, oh wait, Mercy dashed out and Zenyatta died? How did Zenyatta die? Was Far is behind them right now. Okay, I see. There's a lot of moving parts in Overwatch. It's hard to keep track of everything. Okay, so Zenyatta's dead. We just want to try and kill the Mercy because we're bad at killing tanks as Winston. Mercy's dead anyway. This fight's going pretty well. They have a team that's really lax in presence. So, and like Symmetra is like higher presence than Genji, generally speaking. So as soon as they lost their Symmetra, it was not really looking good, and then we got to like bully their supports around with Pharah as well, so it all went well. Great. We got the point. We're on the payload now. We have Primal Rage, which I mean is nice and all, but it's not one of those ultimates that you're actively thinking about how you're going to use, right? It's more reactive than anything else. Because when you've got Earth Shatter, all you're thinking about is how I'm going to use Earth Shatter. Primal Rage, you're just kind of like, oh, this fight's pretty serious. I guess I'm just going to use Primal Rage. Our Pharah has just died for, like, no reason, basically. We did see, as we were capturing the point, that they now have a Soldier as well. So Soldier is pretty high on our list of priorities, because he's going to be, like, trying to be on the high ground, and we want to get them off the high ground. Winston's doing this. This is really bad. Like, don't do what this Winston is doing, because he's doing, like, fucking nothing, basically. Like, all he's doing is, like, feeding our team a bunch of ult charge, because we're getting to shoot into this big, beefy man, and, like, nothing's happening. His team's not here. He's just, like, knocking people around, and everyone's just kind of like, can you go away? But, like, he's not doing anything. And he just ends up using his Primal Rage. Sort of baits Lucio in. Lucio's dead now, which is good for us. We put the bubble down right there. The Reinhardt might have Earth Shatter, so that's kind of like a secondary goal that you have where you're trying to block Earth Shatter. But mostly we're just fighting, which is fair enough. So here we see Reaper. And as soon as you start getting shot by that Reaper, right there, like, we can hear him. We just got chunked pretty hard. Like, just ult, basically, immediately. As soon as you realize the Reaper's coming for you. But we don't realize he's coming. I don't think we, like, realize he's coming until it's kind of too late. And then we're already dead. Feels bad, man. So, both teams just got rezzed. Reset. Start again. Reaper's going in with Nano Boost. Transcendence is happening. Earth Shatter happened right there. Like, our bubble's up. You just, like, put the bubble down because we're fighting, basically. We could be, like, thinking, you know, I want to block Reinhardt's Earth Shatter, but if you're not, like, we don't really know exactly what his charge is at because we're playing Winston, so we haven't had, like, a super lot of time to keep track of him, really. So we've got their Winston over here. We don't want to be fighting this guy, really. Like, we're really bad at fighting tanks. We want to avoid them as much as possible. And, like, we're sort of, like, actively trying to fight this Winston. Rather than doing that, we should just, like, be going in. Like, we've got Primal Rage. We can just go in, start, like, trying to, like, box their backline away from them. We can try and bully their Reinhardt out of the way. Like, trying to fight the Winston is not a good use of our time because Winston is really bad at fighting tanks. We'd rather be doing anything else, basically. And, like, it's like, I know there's kind of like, you know, my team's fighting this guy over here, I want to help my team fight this guy. It's just like, your time can be better spent elsewhere. And also, if your team is fighting one of their tanks or something like that, that means that tank's not protecting their backline. So you can just try and go and get them instead. And, like, Winston's just bad at fighting tanks. So it's not usually, like, your area to try and help with this. You know, your time's usually better spent just trying to kill their backline instead. So we use Primal Rage right here. I wouldn't use Primal Rage because we've already lost this fight. Like, we lose Anna right there, which is already a bad start. But then we lose Reaper as well. Then we lose Mercy. We're down 3 people right now. We're gonna lose this fight. And then we use Primal Rage anyway. But we've already lost this fight, so we're just not really using this ultimate for anything. Roadhog's using Whole Hog as well. It's just like, you shouldn't expect to win this fight. It doesn't actually go that terribly, but that's the kind of fight, the way the fight's going, you just don't want to use your ultimates, really. Because it's probably not gonna work. Like, miraculously, 4 of them are now dead. And we used, like, a bunch of bad ultimates to make it happen. But just even though it works in this situation, you should just not use your ultimates in that situation. Because if you're down 3 people, they're not down anything, it's probably not going to work. So there, Winston's coming over at us. He's using Primal Rage. He's sleepy right now. Reaper went over and shot him in the face. He's kind of like low-ish right now. Now he's purple. Now he's hopping away. I think he's going to get away. Oh, no, he could have gotten away. He very much could have gotten away, but chose not to, which is fair enough, I guess. So we really want to get this Mercy. I would not be trying to get the Mercy, because, like, this is just kind of too awkward, really. Better than trying to get the Mercy in this situation is trying to think who can save her, right? Because she's just gonna, like, fall to her death, probably. I mean, she could get here, but that's not where she wants to be anyway. I just jump on the soldier right now, because he's all by his lonesome. Like, who do you see over here that's going to help the soldier? Nobody. We just killed Winston. So, rather than doing this, which is, like, awkward and inconvenient, I would have just jumped on the soldier and started bullying him around. We had our bubble as well, so that would be pretty easy. Maybe we drive him away from the ledge and the Mercy just falls to her death instead. So we've gotten behind them right now, we've jumped on their backline, we've got the bubble, we're dancing around the bubble, they've got a McCree, he flashbangs us, and they kill us out before we can, like, get back into the bubble again. Reaper's being an absolute hero. So this, like, is the team comp has changed very suddenly, kind of thing. We don't see McCree before we actually do this anywhere, so this is kind of just, like, getting taken by surprise. Because you want to be careful around McCree, because Winston's good against McCree, yeah, but it's not like a super one-sided matchup or anything. The McCree can kill you, and you want to be careful, like, around his flashbang, even as Winston, but we just don't know he's here right now. We jump on their 2 supports, and then, like, they collapse on us really well and kill us. So it's kind of just more getting taken by surprise than anything else by the sudden team change. Reaper goes in, Reaper's killed their entire team, and we got rezzed, and now Reinhardt's dead as well. So, we get to win, anyway. Yeah, we got, like, taken by surprise by a sudden team comp change, so, like, you know, whatever, basically. We saw their supports, we jumped on their supports, and it just so happened the McCree managed to kill it, they managed to collapse on us with McCree and killed us. Happens. So, now, we've almost got Primal Rage built up again. We know they have, McCree and, Soldier. Don't know, I was gonna say Reinhardt, but, like, obviously they have a Reinhardt. So those people are gonna usually be on the back line, like, trying to be on high ground, so we're gonna want to be focusing them as much as possible, because they're our area as Winston. So we jump in back here. This is relatively close to their entire team, but we can see them fairly split up across the hallway, so this is fine. The thing is, then we get in, and then we kind of like don't know what we're gonna do anymore when we get in. Like, I think we're going for the Mercy more than anything else, so we're tracking her. You could just like try and get the Soldier instead, because Soldier is like also very high on our list of priorities. And we're still on top of him. Like, we whip around looking for the Mercy, it looks like. We're still on top of the Soldier. We could just get the Soldier instead and try to get him. And then, like, if Mercy comes back over to him, you know, whatever. We just sort of go in, and then we're like, oh, well, I guess there's kind of nothing for me to do over here anymore. It's like, you know, get the Soldier, really. Rather than just sort of tasing around randomly. So, there Winston's over here. Again, we don't want to really be dealing with this. He's low HP, so like we get in on the kill, but that guy was gonna die regardless, because he had Reaper right on top of his face. Our time is, again, just better spent doing other things, especially since one of the other team is dead right now. So if their Winston's getting killed over here, that means there's only 4 people over there, and we could just be killing them, or like, fucking with them, basically. And we've got Primal Rage, so that's like super easy. We don't, like, I know that you want to help your team deal with, like, the tank that's diving in them, but that's kind of just, like, not Winston's thing. If it's a Genji, like, diving into your team, or, like, soldiers diving with tac visor, something like that, then that's fair enough. But tanks are not your area. You don't want to fight them. You want to just go and, like, do something else instead. Your time is better spent elsewhere than hitting tanks. Winston just doesn't do enough damage to tanks, especially since most tanks also have armor, which reduce damage, and Winston does like a little damage over a long period of time. It's just not his area. So their team is mostly dead right now. We're jumping on this Zenyatta to bully him around, which is, yep, correct play. We kill him. Awesome. So we're most of the way in right now. We've still got a minute. We see 2 hit scan heroes back there. We can just jump on them right now, because we've got Primal Rage, so we've got, like, the backup, basically. We've killed their Zenyatta, so they can't put Discord Orb on us anymore, unless the McCree gets really good, and we put our bubble down right here, so we still had our bubble. Unless the McCree, like, gets some sick headshots in, these people don't kill you. You could just jump on their backline, put the bubble on them right there, and then start fighting. And if you have to, you have Primal Rage, but they're out here without healers right now. You probably just either kill those 2 or lead to them dying regardless. So rather than just like doing this like awkward dancing thing, you could just like commit immediately to their backline because they haven't reinforced yet. And you've got like the backup plan of Primal Rage if you really have to. So we see that their Mercy is over there. We get Earth Shattered right there, which is unfortunate, but I would have already jumped in. Like, now's the time to go, because, like, you see, I mean, he's earth-shattering right now, but as soon as I see, like, the Mercy over there, it's only her and one other person. The other person is, like, there's, like, a guy over here, and Reinhardt's, like, in the middle. And you've still got Primal Rage, which is still just, like, the insurance, you know? So I would have just dived on the Mercy as soon as I saw her, basically. And again, their Zenyatta is still respawning. He's not here yet, so he can't put the Discord Orb on you right as you jump in. So, but now we've been Earth Shattered, that feels bad. We're getting pinned. We just Primal Rage immediately afterwards, which is the correct response. We see that Soldier is up there. We're trying to get him. We don't quite land up there, and then we get flashbanged on the ground. And Zenyatta has managed to get back now, and we get chunked down really fucking low. And, it doesn't really feel very good. Honestly, just go die. Like, just go die instead of doing this, because you are super likely to die. And, you just, like, want to get back to your team more than anything else. They don't know you're here, so, like, you can kind of get, oh, no, they do know you're here, because they just arrive right there. Feels bad, man. Like, usually when you're stuck on the other side of the team, to your team, it's just, like, you usually just want to go and die, so that you can get back to your team quicker. Because now you're just dead at a really inconvenient time, but if you just died, you would be with your team right now, instead of them having to, like, go in without you. So, we're getting back now. Reaper killed somebody, but then Reaper died. Pharah killed their Mercy, and then Mercy rezzed Pharah and Reaper. So this is now going fantastically. And we also see that the nano boost is happening over here. Again, that's not our area. Like, don't look at that guy first. Look around for squishier people to jump on. Like, their Zenyatta. Go jump on their Zenyatta instead, because that's a better allocation of your time than the Reinhardt. But it doesn't matter. Like, they just get, like, bowled over by ultimates, basically. Which, I mean, happens. That's kind of Overwatch, you know? So, we are now defending. We're going to be playing Reinhardt. We do play Roadhog on defense, but it's on the next defense. Because, I mean, the opening should have told you how the game goes, roughly. So, we have a unfortunate team because we have a Junkrat, but other than that, we have a perfectly standard team. We're going to stand in the choke point. We're going to try and make space for our team. Junkrat has managed to kill their Genji with some cheese, which is fantastic. Always good that Genji's now tilted. We've managed to just, like, kill Mercy with random shit, which is also good. So now they're good and tilted. Now we've gotten them warmed up, basically. Enemies on the point behind us. We don't want to go deal with that because we're playing Reinhardt. We want to stand over here making space. We are standing, like, pretty scarily close. Because we are standing, like, in the bridge, which is kind of easy to just kind of, like, suddenly get collapsed on and killed if the enemy team, like, executes it correctly. It's usually better to stand, like, a little bit further back away from it. Partly because, like, it's harder for them to just immediately kill you, but then you can keep an easier track of this room, because you can just look on the doorway over there instead. And you still effectively do the same thing. Like, if you're standing further back, you can just make space for your team further back, and they can just put so much pressure in the choke point they can't just walk through it. And if you have to, you can always walk forward. But standing, like, right here is kind of, like, a little scarily close. You don't always want to stand, like, in the choke point. Like, you do sometimes, but this is not really one of the choke points where you want to stand just, like, in it. You want to stand, like, a little bit further back, because the enemy team doesn't usually get to just walk through anyway, because they have to walk through, like, while getting shot at, basically. So this is kind of, like, scarily close. Another example of this is, King's Row. You don't really want to stand, like, right at the gate in front of the statue. You want to stand, like, a little bit further back, kind of between the statue and the building. Because standing in the gate is just really hard. Eichenwalde is a similar concept, but it's easier to stand in the gate, but it's still kind of, like, scary, comparatively. So, and, the enemy team, they just sort of, like, rush right past right there. Reinhardt tried to pin, didn't get anybody with it. Unfortunately, we can't, like, really capitalize on it at the time, because we're not really in position to just pin him immediately afterwards. So, their Reaper they're all getting in right now. We're just sort of, like, randomly looking around and swinging, which is, I mean, not great. Because, like, nobody's here. And we're just sort of like, oh, I'm gonna hit somebody. Where is anybody? Just, like, chill. Take a minute to, like, look around and, like, figure out where everybody is. And then, like, figure out what you have to do from that. Like, just, like, spinning around, swinging your hammer, like, doesn't get you very much information. Like, it just kind of, like, disorientates you and you have a harder time keeping track of people. Just, like, chill. There's a lot of people all over the place right now. Just, like, take a minute, look around, reassess the situation, and then figure out what you have to do, rather than just, like, I'm gonna hit somebody. So, they're coming in right now. We pinned, it looks like, trying to get the Lucio. Wouldn't have done that one. Would have just held the pin, and then we could use it to try and pin that guy after he did that. He's super dead anyway, like, that's not good. That Reinhardt's not playing well right there. So we're not, like, doing any protecting right now. We're just kind of, like, running around trying to swing at people that we can't hit. And, like, we've done, like, nothing during this whole, like, 5-second period. Like, when you're playing Reinhardt, don't be like, I have to do the damage. Because, like, when you're playing a support, right, like, your first priority is healing people. Obviously, because you're playing a support. Playing a tank, it's like your first priority is protect your team, and then do damage comes secondarily after that. We're just, like, trying to hit people that are hard for us to hit, and we don't hit anybody. Our time would be better spent just, like, blocking for people, trying to, like, make space for people. We're just sort of, like, running around not doing anything right now, instead. So, like, we could just be blocking this Reaper, and then, we don't have to kill these people. All we have to do is try to, like, make sure they don't do damage to our team, and then our team can kill them. So, Roadhog's ulting over there. We Reinhardt gets made sleepy. We're gonna pin Reinhardt. He's purple, so he's basically fucked. We now have, so Genji's using Dragon Blade over here. We just got nano boosted as well. We don't see Genji. There's Genji. Earth Shatter right here. Easy money. We don't actually get the Diva, which is unfortunate. Here, you pin the Genji. Because, unfortunately we did this. We didn't get the Mercy. Mercy's now over here healing the person. We will not kill him through Mercy healing him unless we pin him. So now we just try and pin him as soon as we see Mercy tethered to him. You can't, like, kill them before they get up if Mercy is healing them, generally speaking. So we should have just tried to pin him instead since that was off cooldown. So, a lot of people coming in right now. All kinds of places. Diva went in there, so we pinned the Diva to get, like, most of her mech dead. Again, rather than doing that, I'd be more concerned with just blocking damage for people out here, because, like, there's still a Reaper running around, and, like, he's gonna be making eyes at our supports, and, like, we don't have really anybody that's super great at stopping Reaper. So rather than, like, pinning the Diva, I would have just still been blocking damage to try and, like, make sure that Reaper doesn't kill people, basically. So that killed Junkrat, but that indirectly also killed Lucio, because Junkrat's passive killed him. Things are not going very well right now. We tried to pin, we didn't manage to hit anybody. Diva's mech, now broken. Diva, now basically dead. Nah, come on, just jump off the edge, honestly. Okay, so we managed to kill the Diva. Mercy's come over here, she's res the Diva. We're like, really? And I was like, really? When I saw it as well. Don't try and Earth Shatter in that position. Unless you can also get the Reaper, you're just gonna die. And, like, fortunately he kills us before Earth Shatter actually casts, so we get to keep it. But don't use it in that situation, because unless you hit everybody in that situation, you're just gonna die and not get to use it. Or, like, you'll use it, but then you won't get to do anything, you know. Okay, so we lost that checkpoint. It's not the end of the world. We got it to the end. They have to get it to the end. The street phase is kind of hard to defend. The bridge and the castle are very easy to defend, though, so we're not overly concerned about it. You know, we've still got things to work with. So there's a Reaper up there right now. That's where we're looking up at him. People are calling out. So he's back there. That's very spooky. He's dead now. We don't have to worry about it anymore. It's all good. So, we've got Earth Shatter. That's sick. He's got Earth Shatter. We block the Earth Shatter. He's now super sad. We don't want, like, we can't Earth Shatter immediately in response because, like, all of this is happening, basically. So, but now we've got Earth Shatter. He's got 0% right now. So, huge plus for us as Reinhardt right now. We did just see him hit Soldier with the Fire Strike, so he's like 10%. You know, you want to try and keep track of it. He just got a couple swings in over there, so now he's like 25, 20-ish, you know. You want to try and keep track of it if you can, but it's not like super important until like way higher to keep like super careful track of it. Just like, okay, he hit people, he's like got some charge now, you know, just try and keep like roughly in mind. So, we've still got Earth Shatter. Here's Reaper right now. That's kind of spooky. There's a lot of moments in here where I think you could Earth Shatter, and it would be justified. I don't know if I would have tried myself, but like right here, you could hit Reaper and Genji. That's both of their DPS you would kill. So that's probably a worthwhile use of Earth Shatter. Right here, you could hit Reaper and their Reinhardt. That would also be a fine use of the Earth Shatter. So there's moments in here, or right now, you could get both of their tanks. Genji's using his Dragon Blade behind us right now, so we might want to try and use it on him as well. Reaper's using that, so we decide to use it right here. I think there's a lot of things in there that you could have used Earth Shatter on, and they would have all been perfectly justified uses. This is probably, like, the worst situation we could be in, because we're ulting reactively, basically. You don't want to be the one that ults reactively, you want to be the one that ults first in most cases. The best thing in the world you can do is if you're playing on defense, if you can make the attacking team feel like they're on defense, that makes them feel real sad. So probably the best we could do is right here, because, like, it's fairly guaranteed we'd get both of these DPS. If Genji dashes at an unfortunate time, that would be sad. but we see we would have had time to do it as well. I mean, like, that's hindsight, it's 2020, looking back and being like, alright, he didn't dash until we could have already done it, but I would have seen them both line up and been like, maybe I should Earth Shatter. And generally speaking, advice I usually give to people is, if you're thinking about using your ultimate, you should probably just use your ultimate. This is like a variation of like League of Legends where I was like, if you're thinking about using Flash, you should probably just use Flash. If you know anything about League of Legends, then you'll know what I mean. Otherwise, it's like, if you're thinking you should use your ultimate, you should probably just use your ultimate. Because if you're in a position where you're thinking about it, that probably means you should use it. So, anyway, that aside, now this is happening. She actually killed the Genji, which is fantastic news. We Earth Shatter right here. We stop the Reaper. We pin the Reaper. Reaper's dead. Both of their DPS are now dead. Soldier is also dead. Their Mercy currently alive, which is very, spooky. And there's not really anything we can do about that because we're playing Reinhardt. Mercy reses these people. She doesn't res everyone. She misses Genji, but she has just resed Reinhardt and Reaper again. So, now this is happening. That's spooky. You could just go in, rather than blocking that. That's too far away to really affect you, and you can't really block for anyone important. So, probably better to just, like, go in and try to get something done with this nano boost, rather than trying to block that. And then, we get bumped off the edge, and we die. Try not to go near the edge if you, like, you're fighting, or, like, if you're fighting in this area, try not to go next to the ledge, because you don't want to get bumped off. But I think, like, basically just, like, go in, because the ult goes so far past you that it's, like, not gonna hurt you anyway. And you've got damage reduction on you from Ana's ult, so it's, like, definitely not. Just, like, go in, try to get something done with that instead. Bare minimum, like, you'll stop them from, like, trying to capitalize on the explosion more. So, okay, we're back now. Junkrat has killed Pharah, which is very, So, but now, we're back. Here's Reaper. I would just start swinging at the Reaper. Like, he's right in front of your face, like, didn't see you were there. There's nothing, like, you don't have to be blocking because he's shooting up, like, in the sky. I'd just, like, hit him sooner. So, a lot of people all around us right now. We don't have that much to work with. We're just blocking damage. Both their supports now dead. Fantastic news. So, Reaper over there, also now dead. Great. Their push, dead now. We've almost got Earth Shatter built up, pointing with my hand. Because, you know. So, we're gonna have Earth Shatter built up when the next fight actually starts, which is fantastic, always good. He's, like, got Earth Shatter at this point as well. I don't think he used it during the last fight. He didn't, no, I don't think he did. So, he's probably got his. We're gonna have ours. They are trying to come across the bridge, which is good news for us. Now, if we see an opportunity, we can Earth Shatter and probably get a lot of them, because they're gonna be coming across the bridge with him. Like, you could have done it right there if you react quickly enough, because the idea is that you're, like, waiting to see him do something. As soon as he starts charging right here, he's not gonna hit you because you're on the, like, there's no way. Like, the geometry just doesn't work that he's gonna hit you. If you're paying attention for, like, waiting for an opportunity, if you Earth Shatter right now, you hit, like, his entire team. You'll get him, D.Va, Mercy. I think somebody else is over there as well. Lucio, yeah. Okay, you wouldn't hit the Mercy because she's all the way back there, but she doesn't actually have a res right now because she just used it. You'd hit 3 of them, which is definitely a worthwhile use of Earth Shatter. We use it right there instead. We still get all the same people, so that's fine. Slight thing, you can actually get the Lucio with this pin, rather than the Reinhardt. Like, it looks like we kind of aim at the Reinhardt. You can actually get the Lucio. If you can get the Lucio, that's better than getting the Reinhardt, because the Reinhardt, we didn't get Mercy, so we're just gonna pin the Reinhardt into his team, and then we're not gonna get anything done, because he's not gonna die. If you know you're gonna get nano boosted as you're doing this is fine regardless, but that's not gonna happen, and you don't know regardless if it is. So you could actually, like, aim this to hit the Lucio instead. Like, we bat D.Va out of the way, so that makes it even easier, but you could take the extra, like, half second to just walk a little bit more forward past her and aim at the Lucio instead, rather than the Reinhardt. And that's better than what happened, basically. I also think we didn't want to end up going quite that far, because I don't think we were aiming to end up in the ditch. But, so now we're dead. We aren't there to block Earthshatter. He Earthshatters our team. He doesn't actually kill anyone, though, so that's great. Nerf this is happening outside. They're, like, all dead right now, though, so great news for us. This is a tragic waste of company resources, honestly. Like, why have we been nano boosted? Why did Mercy res the Ana? What a tragic use of company resources. So we're trying to get the Diva. This isn't working. We just give it up. We shouldn't have gone this far for the Diva already. And then, like, Roadhog ends up getting killed. Right there, I just pin this Reinhardt, honestly, because you kill him if you pin him. Like, this is a relatively easy pin to line up, and you would kill him. And what's really gonna kill you, right? Like, you probably still get away with it as well, especially since you have an Ana to heal you from across the bridge. Like, Pharah doesn't kill tanks, and over there, it's just supports. I just pin this Reinhardt, and then you probably still get away with it, because there's nothing there that can kill you quickly enough. Their Pharah even dies. Which obviously we didn't know, but like, I would have just pinned him, you probably kill him, and that's a sick time to kill him as well, because there's only 10 seconds left. Instead, he's still here. We're saying he's definitely got Earthshatter. I'm not really thinking he's got Earthshatter, but he's getting close to it. He did pin somebody. He got to hit a few swings in after the Earthshatter. He's close, if he doesn't have it. So he starts charging in. We should countercharge this. Like, as soon as you see that, just push shift. Like, we start backing up out of the way. It ends up not amounting to anything, but, like, you want to countercharge the Reinhardt. He might die if you do it, because, like, he takes a big chunk of damage as well, and he's going to be right in front of your team. But more important than that, you just don't want him to, like, charge past you. You don't want him to be in your team, right? You want to countercharge the other Reinhardt, like, 9 times out of 10. There's a very narrow selection, like, very narrow situation where you don't want to do that. So, Mercy just rezzed them. He's coming in, he's swinging in. We were saying he had Earthshatter, but we weren't, like, we start swinging into him anyway. He just Earthshatters past us. Soldier's using his sights right now. We're pretty fucking boned. There's a few things that could have affected this. If both of our supports didn't, like, waste their ultimates, that would have obviously been helpful. But if we kill their Reinhardt over there, things go probably completely differently. Because either he doesn't get rezzed and arrives to the right fight super late, or Mercy rezzes him over there. The thing is as well, they got rezzed over here and then, like, use that momentum to come back in. If he gets rezzed over there, there's no momentum. So if we kill him over there, maybe this fight goes differently. But, I mean, we'll never know. It's a shame, like, we didn't have Nano Boost or, Res either. You know, obviously. So there's a few things that might have affected that one, but we'll never know. Okay. So we're talking to the team, we're trying to get them to, like, stay around this corner, which is where we want to be standing. So that's good. Their Reinhardt just walked on a trap. We can't really punish him, because if we try to pin him right there, we probably die. So that's fine. We're just, like, sitting back, trying to make space for our team, fire striking in, this is fine. Our shield's getting really low, we have to let it recharge. He probably isn't very close to Earthshatter yet, so that's, like, okay. We're coming up with our shield, like, really low HP, starting to try and block. Now we've been nano boosted, so just, like, go in. Like, as soon as you get nano boosted, just, like, go in, rather than doing this. I mean, we start coming forward, like, our shield's getting chunked down. Get nano boosted, just go. Just, like, go. Because then we start doing this, just go. Start swinging. You've almost got Earthshatter. You've just been nano boosted. You'll charge it super fast. He probably doesn't have his Earthshatter yet, because he only just used it, and there wasn't that much of a fight that happened. So, you could just, like, go in, start swinging, try to build up Earthshatter, and then, like, try and land Earthshatter, just try and, like, get something done with the nano boost. So now we're over here. That happened. That killed 3 people. It killed both the supports. Absolutely terrible news. We're fucked, basically, as you may imagine. And, that's not good. That's obviously not good. Farah was like, fuck that. Yeah, that was really well played by them, honestly, cause we got nano boosted, their Reinhardt pinned us and took us super far away, and then D.Va, when that was happening, threw the ult in, and killed enough people with it that we couldn't really do anything with it. So it was actually really well played by them. You know, shit happens, basically. Just like try and go in sooner when you get nano boosted, but in that situation, it probably doesn't matter. Like, I think you probably still get fucked regardless. Given what we see that happens, I don't think it works out, but just like go in, basically. So, we are now attacking again. We only have a minute. We're going back to, a similar comp, but not quite. So, we wanted to talk about, second wave rounds a little bit, so let's do that now, right at the start. So, this is the round where, no matter what SR you're in, you expect the enemy team to have cheese. Attacking team and defending team. You expect them to have cheese. So, because there's a pretty high likelihood that they are. Especially since this is the point where, like, people are gonna be tilted, and somebody's gonna be like, I'm just gonna pick Bastion, fuck it, you know. So, and there's like a high chance, like, this is when you're gonna see the defense tree get used a lot. You're gonna see the Mei, you're gonna see the Junkrat, the Bastion, the Torbjorn, the Symmetra. I know Symmetra's a support, but she's a defense hero, let's be real. So, you kinda have to, like, play it by ear, like, it's kinda, I think Winston is a little iffy to pick in this situation because there's a fairly likelihood you'll jump into something you don't want to jump into. Like, if you see that they have a Bastion, that just makes life super difficult. If they have a Torbjorn, that makes life pretty difficult as well, because he has a shotgun, which Winston generally doesn't like dealing with. So, in this kind of situation, in like this kind of round, I think it's usually better to pick D.Va, because they do roughly the same thing, but D.Va is more useful against people like Bastion and Torbjorn than Winston is, because Winston is very bad at fighting those people. The biggest thing that happens on these rounds is someone tilts usually, but like that's kind of like out of your control anyway. That's like the thing I see happen the most. The other thing that's going to happen is basically you all get through the door or none of you get through the door. If you lose somebody coming in, you are going to lose the push because it's really hard to push in at a numbers disadvantage and you don't have time to build up ultimates. So if you lose somebody going in the gate, that's really bad and you're probably just going to lose the push completely, barring exceptional circumstances. And I mean, that's like hard for you to really stop happening. You want, like, basically you want to try and keep your team alive as you're going in to the best of your ability, because if you lose somebody going through the gate on attack, you're gonna lose the push, because that's just how attack versus defense usually works. Attackers have to use a lot of ultimates to get through the door. If you lose somebody, it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. Fighting 5v6 is too hard. So, you gotta try and keep everybody alive as you're going through the gate, but that's kinda hard to really control happening. And you want to try and pick somebody off as soon as possible, because the inverse is also true. If you pick somebody off on them really quickly, you're more likely to win, because they also don't have ultimates to fend off your push. So it's really more than anything comes down to which team loses somebody first, because that's going to be the thing that swings it the most in one direction or the other. This is why dive comps are best used on offense, because they don't require ultimates to do what they need to do. Like, generally, a lot of the people on the dive comp don't actually have very good ultimates, right? Because, like, Winston is usually there, D.Va is probably there sometimes, Farah is probably there, Barat, like, these people don't really have great ultimates. It's more just like, you dive in, you try and pick somebody off as quickly as possible, because that's what's going to swing it the most. And dive comps are the best at doing that. So if you can, like, try and get your team to do, like, a proper dive comp, then that's going to be helpful on the attacking side, because it's the most ult independent, and these rounds come down to who dies first, usually. And when I say a proper dive comp, I mean Winston, Zarya, Genji or Tracer, Pharah, and then, like, Lucio and another healer. I generally recommend Zenyatta because it makes it easier to pick somebody off, but all of the supports are good. Lucio is important because you have to be able to get in quickly. Zarya is, like, the two most important members are Zarya and Lucio. Cause Zarya has to, and, like, the Winston can be D.Va as well. Like, they both dive. Zarya is really important because she makes it so much easier to dive in as that hero. Lucio is very important because speed is good when you're trying to dive, basically. I personally think Zenyatta is the best you can do, just because more damage, out of line of sight healing. He works well with flankers. He can help the Pharah. He can help the Genji, and he makes it easier to kill the person you're diving on. Like, you want to try and get, like, a dive comp. Not a half-hearted dive comp, not one that's like Winston Roadhog, one that's like Mercy Anna. Like, you need to go fully in on it if you can. But that's obviously dependent on your team as well. So, like, but if you can, that's gonna help you on the attacking side. The defending side, be ready for cheese. That they might still come out with a Bastion, especially if it's a map with payload like Dorado. And then be ready for the dive comp, because that's probably what's going to come at you if you're defending as well. And the important thing for the defending side of the round is kill an attacker as quickly as possible. It doesn't matter which attacker. As long as you kill one of them very quickly, it's too hard to push in. Because they're trying to push in 5v6, they've got no ultimates. It's really hard to do. And you need to try and keep your team alive. It's easier to do this on defense because you don't have to go in when you're defending. Try to make sure no one dies. Good heroes to pick in this situation are Zarya, because Zarya can correct other people's mistakes. Anna is really good if you're playing a support because she has the most agency. She can, like, save people with the dart and just, like, a lot of healing. Mercy is very bad on defense because Mercy is very weak to dive, and you might not get to build up your ultimate, and if you don't get to build up your ultimate on Mercy, that's really sad. So you want to be like Lucio, Anna Zenyatta, something like that for the defending team. If you're going to pick a tank, pick either Roadhog or Zarya if possible. Roadhog gets to kill people really quickly. Zarya gets to correct other people's mistakes. It's easier to keep people alive. McCree is better than Soldier, usually, because there's a chance the dive comp's gonna come out. McCree can also protect people with his flashbang, as well as himself, obviously, as well. And he's also good against people like Genji, Tracer, and Pharah. But he's better at fighting people right on his face than Soldier is. So, basically, like, be ready for these things. Try to pick somebody off. Try to avoid anybody on your team getting picked off. If you're attacking, try to have a real dive comp. And if you're defending, just be ready for it, pretty much, and try to make sure nobody gets picked off. The biggest factor is gonna be which team picks somebody off first. Because that's just gonna, like, snowball, usually. There are exceptional circumstances where you lose somebody and it still goes your way, but, like, 9 times out of 10, the team that loses somebody first is gonna be the team that loses that. So, hopefully that answers your question. If you want further elaboration, feel free to ask. I'll more than happy to go into it, but hopefully that answers your question. So, now we're attacking first. We're playing Winston. We don't have, like, a real dive comp. Because we have, like, a Roadhog and a Reinhardt, who are slower heroes, so we don't have, like, a real dive comp. This is, like, in between. So they have a Symmetra. Again, this is not unsurprising. They also have an Orisa. That's not the end of the world. That's, like, easier for us to deal with than Winston. So, very decisively, we come through the gate, we immediately get all of the turrets off, which is good. God, excuse me, Jesus Christ. Fucking water, apparently, doesn't agree with me. It's not actually water, it's Gatorade, but, so, we come through the gate, we immediately take all of this off, we kinda like walk out of the bubble to do it, so we take a big chunk in the ass as we're doing that. I like the decisive action, but like, we very nearly die, and as we just established, we really don't wanna die. So, now we're coming like through here, we're kinda still low HP, we're just sort of hanging out while we're waiting to get healed up. We dive in here. It's right on top of Orisa and the supports. Orisa is not good at getting people off of other people, so this is fine. We end up backing off a little bit. We could, like, keep going a little bit harder than that. Like, we don't have to back off quite that suddenly, because we aren't looking at anything super threatening. But now our jump's back up. We've jumped back in again. We're trying to get the Mercy. We don't quite get the Mercy. Oh, we got the Mercy in the end. Okay, but we did lose Reinhardt, and we've also lost Farah, which is really bad, obviously. I mean, we're trying to get the Mercy. Like, that's fine. We're trying to get the Mercy, basically, so that, you know, Mercy is pretty important to kill. So, we're back in now. Our Mercy has actually managed to build res quickly enough to res Farah, but she didn't res, Reinhardt, and she didn't res us because we died right afterwards, so that sucks. We lost. You know, we lost. You don't get a do-over when you only have a minute left. And almost, but not quite. I don't think there's anything we do differently in there as Winston, really. We're trying to kill Mercy. We don't quite kill the Mercy. We kill the Mercy in the end. But, like, Symmetric killed Reinhardt. Somehow. Like, I don't know what was happening with him, because obviously we can only see our own perspective. But, you know, it feels bad, man. So, they don't have that much longer than us. They do only need to capture 33%, which is harder said than done, like, sometimes. So our team is not great, because we have May Junkrat. So if they have a Farah, we're going to be really upset. We're the best we have against... Well, no, Zenyatta's slightly better than us. It's us and Zenyatta that can kill the Farah, which they're likely to have, of course, because they usually will just in general, but on Eichenwalde in particular, they almost always do. So we're not super stoked about it. May isn't even that great on this choke point, in my opinion, because, like, you can get through the doorway on the side so quickly that I don't think walling off the choke point actually necessarily helps. Especially given the, Eichenwalde is a map I find very prone to having people, like, the enemy team usually has a lot of people that can just go over the gate, basically. So I'm not super into May on Eichenwalde, generally speaking. Personal preference, I guess. So, they have a Bastion. That was a Bastion's gun that we just saw. So, we want to kill him. He's dead. Like I said, always be ready for the cheese. So, Bastion's dead. Winston just used his bubble really badly. Winston's coming in, he doesn't have his bubble. He just got blasted like who the fuck knows where, which is pretty inconvenient. There's a diva around the backhand side. We're being told that she's low HP. We come back around here, we kill Genji. Awesome. So we've killed 2 people. We killed their Bastion right at the start. Now we killed that. Diva's just lost her mech. Winston's just died. This push that they're going in on right now has failed. They committed to it and failed quickly enough that they're gonna get to try again. But they lost it. We got to build up more ultimates out of it because we won the fight. So, and they're gonna be more rushed coming in on this one. So, we missed the hook right there. That sucks. If we could break Diva's mech right there, it actually still breaks anyway because we just poke around the corner and break her. So, all works out in the end anyway. So, all good. So, somebody's calling out the Farah's behind us. We're coming back to try and get the Farah. It's really hard for us to do that. Here's Winston. We're more interested in that. Winston's dead now. We got a shot into him and then he just died. Oh, we got the Farah. Oh, perfect. We killed their Winston. We killed their Farah. Great news. Oh, they're alive again. This is, prone to happening. So our Reinhardt just completely fluffed his Earth Shatter, which is very sad, obviously. Winston just stepped on a trap, but we had to reload, which feels bad, but he died anyway to the tire. We have, like, basically won, because they just lost 2 people. They can't res them again, obviously. May's using her ultimate right now. Lucio's fucked regardless. we've won this round. We draw in the end, because, even though it says they need 33%, if the other team doesn't get anything, you just draw in the situation. But we drew in the end, which is also fine. I mean, you know, we end up being like, damn, that's like 26 minutes where they effectively amounted to nothing, which doesn't feel great, but it's better than spending 26 minutes and then losing like 20 SR for it, right? So, we take it. So let's see what the play of the game is. It's gotta be Reaper. He's gonna die in it though, because he gets pinned right at the end of it. He's biding his time. They just didn't know. Either they just didn't care, or Winston didn't tell them this was happening. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Damn. Okay, so. Elevator music playing in my head right there. Okay, so the thing that stands out the most to me is like on, Winston, we didn't act very decisively during the first round. There's a lot of like, like not sure to go in, not sure to go out. And we just kind of end up like posturing around the choke point, which we're really bad at. A lot of jumping into the enemy team, which is also not very good at Winston. It's like, we already kind of covered this earlier, but like, don't go into them. Just like try and like get around them. Wait, like, pick on, like, if you've got a Zarya, you've got more freedom to go in, just like go in on them. But if you don't have a Zarya, you've got to just kind of like be around the side, like wait for your opportunity, just like get around them. Don't go into them, get around them, try to find people that are on their own, and then just like fuck with them, basically. And if you're feeling pressured, get out. The important thing is that you always have to be able to get out. Don't jump in if you think it's super likely you're gonna die, because not dying is a very important part of it. So indecision, jumping into people. Reinhardt, like, don't, like, I mean, I don't think you're afraid to Earth Shatter, but, like, be more actively looking for opportunities to Earth Shatter, because I think, like, the point when we're defending the payload, there were opportunities to Earth Shatter earlier that would have been better, because we end up using it reactively. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be the one that ults second. So, it's not don't be afraid to Earth Shatter. It's just, like, be more actively looking for opportunities. And then, like, there's the part on the bridge where we, like, still Earth Shatter them, but if you're, like, waiting for the Reinhardt to start doing something, you could have Earth Shattered him sooner off the charge, because he wasn't going to hit you from that position either. And you could have done, like, that, but, like, sooner, which is generally better than later. And, like, we did it anyway, but, like, in another universe, maybe you don't do it after that point, and you just want to be looking for these opportunities to, like, do it as quickly as possible. So it's not like, it's not don't be afraid, it's just be more actively looking and more, like, willing to just, like, be the first one to ult, basically. You don't ever want to be you don't want to ever be the Zarya that gravitons second, you know? It's the same basic thing. Sometimes you're the Reinhardt that ults second because you think he's gonna Earth Shatter, and then you block it and then counter him. But generally you want to be the one that ults first, because then they have to act. You want to be the one making the decisions, you want to be the one making them have to react to you. It's never good to be on the back foot, basically. So that's the biggest things that stood out to me in this game. Thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful. Fuck, that was a long one.